Apparently a lot of people really dug Immaterial Missing Power, and who can blame them? It's a unique and fun fighting game and very polished for an indie project. So naturally Twilight Frontier was brought in to do a sequel, Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. And the kicker is, it's an even better game than Immaterial Missing Power. Let's put it through its paces and so I can show you. The setup to this one is a highly localized earthquake levels the Hakure Shrine. And naturally, fresh from making a half dozen deities her personal bitches, Reimu isn't going to take that lying down, so she starts looking for who done it and who she needs to kill. The other girls of Gensokyo are also being plagued by unusual weather, so Marisa and Sakuya also set out to find just what the heck is going on. All roads lead to Yokai Mountain, where your character has to fight her way to the literal heavens to take on basically the Touhou equivalent to an angel. Hell, her name is even Tenshi! Why did she make the weather go nuts? Because she was bored and she wanted someone to come rough her up. And Reimu is all too happy to comply. After she beats the angel, Reimu forces her to rebuild the shrine. The end. It's a Touhou game, you should be used to this type of story by now. So plot and roster change aside, what's new? Well, instead of 2 melee attacks, each character now has 2 projectile buttons, really driving home the range focus of this game. Besides that, there's a new weather system in place. It will randomly change with time, bestowing various effects, such as buffs, healing, and more unusual things like the characters being unable to approach one another. While it's normally random, you can spend a card from the new card bar to force the current indicated condition. This can really throw things in your favor if you know what you're doing. Speaking of the card meter, it replaces the traditional super bar. As you land attacks and take damage, cards will slowly fill. As long as you have at least one filled, you can tap the card button and stop the weather as mentioned above. What's more is each card represents a super move that can be used if enough are filled, usually 2 to 4. You can rotate through the cards as you wish using the corresponding button. To unleash the super attack, all you have to do is hold the card button. Simple as that, no inputs necessary. The card and weather systems add a degree of randomness that few fighters have, and it makes every fight feel much more frenzied. I really like it. Tech-wise, Scarlet Weather is a meager step up, with slightly better character portraits and cooler spell effects. The sprites are still absurdly low res as before, which is a disappointment, but it's made up by the newly arranged soundtrack. It's flat out awesome. Enough said. My only major complaint was the inclusion of only 3 story modes, especially when they all have the same 3 opponents at the end. It feels kinda lazy, and considering all the effort seen elsewhere, it's kind of a shame. Still, it's an excellent game that any fighting game fan should definitely give the time of day. Don't let the cute girls fool you, this game is for manly men! Unlike me. And speaking of games that'll put hair on your manly fairy chest, the Subterranean Animism. The premise of this one, a geyser opens up right outside the Hakure Shrine one day, and it's followed by a large number of yokai from underground. It doesn't take long for Reimu and Marisa to volunteer to investigate. And by investigate, I really mean kill anything that moves down there. This time the girls are aided by one of 3 yokais of their choice from the surface using a long-range communicator yokai somehow happen to have. It certainly feels a little less epic to be descending down a giant hole than the previous games where you climb to the heavens, poning god and yokai alike, but it's a Touhou story, you shouldn't be expecting that much in the first place, honestly. The descent is met with only minor resistance before coming upon an Oni village, where you have to deal with a fairly powerful one named Yugi.
Tell me!
No, this Yugi. After being her into submission, she tells Reimu's group where the Palace of the Earth Spirits is. After poning the master of the place, Satori, the group descends further to meet her quote-unquote pets. The first, Rin, is a cat spirit that puts up a surprisingly tough fight, but is eventually defeated. Afterwards, Reimu runs into the exact point that the Touhou franchise jumps the shark officially. At the bottom of the hole, they come across a nuclear-powered Hell Raven named Utsuho Ryuji. Oh yes, this is a thing. So, what could a nuclear-powered Hell Raven that literally ate a god possibly want? World domination, of course. I mean, I thought this was a fantasy setting with spirits and gods and magic, and you're bringing nuclear power into this? What's next, aliens? I have no words right now. Anyway, after proving that magic beats nukes every time, our heroines find out that was really Kanako Yasaka, the god of Moria Shrine, that convinced Utsuho to eat the god. So, naturally, you waste no time storming the place again. Of course, the goddess in question happens to be away at the moment, so the girls fight Satori's sister, who just happened to be there. For no reason whatsoever. And that's how it ends. The gameplay is regrettably the same as Mountain of Faith, making me already not like this game. However, the game has its own unique gimmick, a focus on grazing. There's a bar at the bottom left of the screen that you fill by doing so. If it's full, you attract all dropped items as if you were at the top of the screen. It's more useful than the previous Faith system, but not as fun as some of the previous gimmicks. Also new to the game is a piece of heart item that will give you an extra life if you collect 4. It's not a bad idea, but it would be better implemented in future games. The yokai assist sounds like a cool feature, but it's really underwhelming in practice. It's just a different weapon and bomb set. Worse, there's no spread shot and barely a homing shot with Reimu, making this title even harder than it already is. Of course, the graphics got a minor upgrade and the sound is catchy, but still not as good as some of the previous titles. It's a better game overall than Mountain of Faith, but still on the low end for the series, honestly. Fortunately, we hit an upswing next time with the next Touhou shooter, Undefined Fantastic Object. And we'll also be looking at Touhou Hiso Tensoko, which can really be defined as an expansion pack for Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. See you then!